to the limit that you abuse yourself, I think that's the exact limit that you'll take abuse or tolerate abuse from someone else.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is your mind blown or what? We are back with another episode of Real to Real. Today we got the OGs, Nick, Kevin, Joey, and me. What's going on, guys?
What's
happening?
OG. Hell yeah.
So we took a week off here of the podcast. We're doing a little revamp, and we're going to try to focus a little bit less on real estate, more on mindset, mentality, helping people, because we want to reach a broader audience. And with the real estate stuff, yeah, we're all in the real estate space. But you guys can find that stuff elsewhere, and we talk about it enough just in our daily lives. So we wanted to make it something a little bit more personable to us and something we enjoy talking about. Now, we're also going to have, guests on as well, do interviews, but we want to make it more so focused on people who we can get value from, people we can learn from, people who are very successful in their space. So that's kind of where we're taking this podcast from here on out. And today we figured, just having conversations with each other, we wanted to talk a little bit about self-criticism.
I think it was a big part of how we were going to regulate. We kind of really had to sit down and be like, where do we want this podcast to go to? And that was kind of in talking about that too. We kind of talked about self-criticism where it's, okay, we want to hold ourselves to a high standard. How are we going to change that? How are we going to become extremely efficient and provide value to a real broad audience? But it's a slippery slope as well, because that's kind of what we got into.
Because sometimes you want to talk about a lot of different topics that can relate to this, but the more you can focus in on one thing, the more, you'll be able to, people that are watching, they'll be able to understand where we're coming from, what we're doing, versus just, everything. So they're not just tuning in just because they want to listen to us. They were tuning in because they can actually have some takeaway from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who doesn't want to get better, right? Like self-help, everyone should do it. Everyone should dive into it.
I cringe so much of that word, though.
Self-help.
Yeah.
I like personal development.
Personal development. What's another one? Yeah, self-help always. Like, get a self-help book.
It sounds like I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, guys.
Just ripping on Joey's.
But that is what it.
No, personal development. Everyone should dive into that, and really focus in on doing that kind of stuff. But it is tough to hold yourself accountable to certain things, and that's why it's so much easier to blame others for your own mistakes potentially. So I think self-criticism is huge.
Yeah, and Drake and 21 Sav dropped last night, so we're feeling good today, boys.
You're feeling amazing today.
I'm feeling amazing. Great. Album of the year.
They killed it, man. I don't know, nothing to be self-critical about for them, dude.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So self-criticism, like obviously everyone does it to a certain degree, but it's a necessary evil, right? Like you need it to some degree, but on the other hand, like if you're too self-critical, you can just go down, like you said, a slippery slope, right?
Yeah.
So what's your guys' experience with that, and what are your opinions?
I actually caught myself yesterday, which is why, the topic came up. I caught myself yesterday, criticizing this video I saw online. It was for me, it looked poorly edited, different things here and there that I think I would have done better. But then I took a step back from that and I realized, wait a minute, that's not my video that I edited, why am I going to criticize this guy for his editing, for his, work? He worked hard on it.
Talking about my video, bro?
No. Dude, your videos are fire.
That was a masterpiece.
That was gold, dude. So I just took a step back and I was like, wait a minute, this is how I talk to myself. Like when I'm sitting in the studio editing videos, or even just right now when sitting here talking, I'm constantly thinking about how can I make this better? Why am I, how can I make this perfect as it can be? And then I start beating myself up over it because I want it to make it as best as possible, but at the same time, I know I can't, because there's always something to learn. So it's just a matter of how can I now transition from that self-criticism to something else, something more productive. Because you're just beating yourself, like what we were talking about last week, or Mark Hansen.
Yeah,
was
Manson.
Mark Manson. I fucked it up last week too.
No, you good.
But just him, like when he's talking about like beating yourself up over something that you're already doing, you're just making it double, like twice as hard on yourself, because now you're criticizing your self-criticism, and then you're just gonna spiral down.
Yeah, and with that criticizing other people, it's like that spot it, got it thing. Like if you are criticizing someone else about it, or you're like worried about someone else about it, you usually have that or think that way about yourself too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't look at people. I mean, a lot of people that criticize me, I automatically think, because I trained myself to do this, I automatically think, well, they're probably even harder on themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't take stuff personally anymore. It's just a matter of somebody's own internal feelings, how they project out into the world. They have to displace that somewhere. So it's either onto themselves or at least half and half, where they project half onto themselves and half onto other people that are doing similar things that might not meet their standards, but those are their standards, not the other person's.
So, and that's a great point, because not only are you detrimental to yourself, but you're detrimental to the core around you. So really at that point in time, how you speak to yourself, it kind of oozes out to your circle. And if you're a leader, I mean, that is super detrimental to your team. So that's big as well, just being an entrepreneur in general.
Yeah. 100%. Sometimes I catch myself shooting down ideas super quick, just because I'm thinking to myself I would not personally do this, so don't do it. But who am I to say something to somebody that that actually has this idea, is gonna take actionable steps towards it, and it could be a good idea. What do I know? You know what I mean? If I've done it myself and I haven't had the best experience, sure, that's fine. But who am I to push down someone else's idea, because they could probably do it better and probably will do it better. So I think it really kills your sphere, and it kills other people's perception of you, because at that point you're just being a dick.
Right. And I think it that falls into the whole perfectionist thing, right? Everything's got to be perfect, and you criticize yourself until it's perfect, but it never is going to be perfect.
Yeah. That's one thing about you that I've noticed.
What?
You are this is perfectionist right here, and you're right here. Trying to make everything so perfect.
Yeah.
Got to. Well,
not saying that it's not, but
Oh, no, it very well isn't. I mean, again, self-criticism, right? It very well isn't. I'm admitting that.
Like decorating this place, you'd pull out the tape measures, make sure the whiteboard's center, and
dude,
the
it was
TV's
even
right in the middle.
Oh, this is 1 centimeter to the left.
You're not even joking. I can tell.
Not even joking.
I had all these soundproofers up in the media room, and Kevin's dude, we got to move that one. This one's got to come off. Move it here.
But you know how many people come through this place and appreciate it?
Oh yeah,
holy
they don't.
Shit.
They don't,
Love it.
You
It's
guys
awesome.
did that? I'm like, Kevin did that.
Kevin did that.
It's a little
That
details,
was
man.
Kevin.
It would not look like that if I did this.
But that's awesome, and it kind of makes me think of, when you're being so critical on yourself, it's hey, man, it's not okay. Even if it's a transaction or anything like that, no one died during this transaction. I'm learning, I'm growing every single day. I'm not going to be perfect, and that's fine. And once you get to that point of that self-forgiveness and being look, man, I'm not going to be perfect. You're not perfect on the other end of this transaction. You get to that point of where you're, Al and I talk about it all the time, but blissfully dissatisfied, where you're look, man, I'm in an uptrend, and it's, I have my peaks and valleys, but at the end of the day, I'm growing every single day. And, Joey and I were talking about just the 1% rule, just 1% better every day. You just have to win the day. And when you're not looking at that entire staircase, oh my God, I have to accomplish that, and you focus in on that one step, it is way less overwhelming and highly attainable at that point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there is some caveat to it, because there's a caveat to it. If you do focus it on that staircase, it could also lead to some crazy depression. It could lead to you thinking about things too much, if you see what I mean. I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other day, because she's focused on school, and she's always criticizing every single step that she does. She's a straight A student, but if she doesn't do something completely perfectly, she freaks out. So I was listen, and she was having a mental breakdown the other day. I was listen, take a step back, view your entire life as a whole, because sometimes that is good. That's so cool. I was take a step back, and sometimes viewing the entire life is good, because now you realize this is so minuscule. So at times it's great to hone in, lock in, and just realize that you're growing 1% better every day. But at other times, when you're actually feeling that bogging down from all this pressure in this one situation, it's good to just step back and see the entire picture. I'm a grain of sand on this massive ball of earth, and floating, hurtling through space, however many miles per hour. So
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
Dude, you definitely need both. I think it's a duality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you get too caught up in the race every single day, like, you need that step back perspective of the big picture. But at the same time, if you're one of those people who are just always in that, you're not going to get anything done. And you're not going to get better. And you're going to end up criticizing yourself because you're getting worse and nothing's getting done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've found myself, that's a really good point, like, in that, like, going through phases of just big picture, you know, wanting to be high achiever, like, just looking at the big picture, spiritual, you know, stuff of life, and to where I forget to live every single day and actually grow. So that's a really good point, and you definitely need the duality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's easy to be bogged down by the constant, you know, we talked about it on recent podcasts where it's like, what do we even call it, where you have to attain such high level success, like the grind or the grind mentality or whatever, which is awesome, but it's like it consumes you. And we talk about this on every podcast because it's such a real thing in this generation as well. But, you know, to your point, Al, it's almost like it is the duality, but at that time it's, as much as it can be a weakness in your life, it can also be a huge asset in your strength, because there's so many people, and especially, you know, for you guys too, you know, starting up your own, and Joe, you're getting after it, but people are going to be like, man, you're working too much, you know, it's not going to be worth it. Money isn't everything. And it's like, it's not about that, but it's about, you know, the standards that I hold to myself. You know, who do I want to be? What do I have to do to accomplish it? And extraordinary results come from extraordinary work, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I think social media is kind of what turns people to look at the big picture, because you see all the, like, everybody, like big real estate guys, like driving Ferraris and everything, like, and you're not there yet. But it all comes down to habits, and, like, what you do. It starts with the habits that you know, attain throughout your journey, and whether they're healthy or not, that's up to you. But social media is definitely what, you know, pushes people over the edge to look at the big picture.
Period.
Yeah.
Dude. Mic drop.
That forgiveness thing, I think, is huge, because, like, not even from the just small self-criticism perfectionist standpoint, but, like, when people make mistakes, when people, you know, fail, when they do something wrong, like, humans are actually the only animals on the planet that beat themselves up and that, you know, have to hurt from the same mistake more than once. Because like any animal, it's like it happens and then, you know, you feel the pain or you get punished by it. But I feel like we always just keep in our mind beating ourselves up over it. Yeah. So the ability to forgive yourself and move forward is what will allow you to kind of get off that spiral going downward and take a step in the right direction.
That was fire too.
That was really good because, I mean, we're complex creatures. Right. I think Jad was talking about this before in an earlier podcast. He was talking about a tree. Look at a tree. It just grows, right? It just grows. That's all it does. It doesn't think about how it's going to grow. It doesn't think about who might chop me down in the future. It just thinks I'm growing. It doesn't compare itself to other trees. I mean, it just grows to its full potential if it's in the right environment.
Hell yeah.
That is awesome. And it's kind of comes down to the same thing as a pain of discipline or pain of regret. And it's kind of when it's binary like that in regards to being self-critical, it's like I'd rather be disciplined. I'd rather have myself disciplined than have myself regretting as well. So, I mean, what would you say? I mean, what can you do right now, do you guys think? Is it as celebrating little wins or how do you convert that to become a strength and become a habit?
Celebrating little wins is so important. Like, you close a deal. Celebrate, dude. Mm-hmm. What are you working towards? You're closing deals. That's a little win. I mean, it might be a little win to you, maybe not. Could be a big win. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But any win that you attain should be celebrated, because what are you working for here?
For sure.
What are we trying to do? We're trying to close deals. So
that's a really good point.
Do you guys ever get complimented and then you're like, oh, that's all right?
Every time.
You're just, like,
you mean like you don't fully believe it?
Yeah. You fully don't believe it.
Disregard it. Like
completely disregard. Yeah. Like yeah, that's like to them it's a great thing. Like you're doing big things over here, but to you it's like I could be doing more. I'm always trying to do more. I should be doing more. Like if somebody compliments me on like closing a deal or starting a team, whatever, like I'll
be like, yeah, I just got this $12,000 house under contract, and they're like, oh sweet, and I'm like, it's all right, I guess.
I get that fully. Like, oh, you were killing it, and like in your mind, maybe you don't think you're killing it, or you're always whatever. You're blissfully dissatisfied. You're not content with where you're at, right? Mm-hmm. Like you think in your head, oh, it's cool, I guess. You know what I mean? So I all the time. I notice you do that a lot too.
I do it a ton. Like
What?
like if you say like, oh, I've got this new client this week, I'll be like, that dude, that's awesome. Like, congrats. And then
Dude, I
he's like,
get pissed because I know when I do it to other people, I mean, I like to compliment people and all that, but like even if I do it to you, I'm like, dude, I know he's not actually like so excited about it.
I know he doesn't give a fuck.
But I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean?
what do you mean? Like if I give you a compliment, you know I'm not that excited.
Like if I give you a compliment for like, I don't know, just doing our job or like doing a normal thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Fuck off, dude. So much more to do.
Dude, yeah.
But that comes with the territory of celebrating the little wins, but mostly your standards.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, okay, I closed 1 and I appreciate that, but I want to close 5 this month, and that's kind of letting people in. And it's been happening a lot with Greenlee and the fire department. They're like, why are you doing all this? Why? And I know I said it earlier, but it's like, why are you doing all this? You don't have to do this. You have a good career. You have blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, I'm thinking way past what you guys are thinking, and respectfully so. And I appreciate it. Yeah. And, what I want is different from what you guys want. And when you get kind of bogged down in the monotony of day to day, you kind of forget, why did I start this? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? And that is very hard over the course of time to be disciplined. Like, you can do it for a year, you can do it for 2 years, but the guys that win for long times are consistent 1%, 10, 20 years over decades. That's how it is.
Yeah. And that's not to say like, if you have your own standards that it's bad or good. Like whatever your standards are, that's how you should live life, right? That's just to say, I saw this one thing, well, I think we talked about it before, but it's like the top producers in the world have that sense of like godliness. I don't know if it's godliness. What was the word? I think we were talking about it.
No.
Superiority complex.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So they're believing in themselves to be like, they look at other people and they're like, you know what, you have great values. I'm at this level. I need to be at this level. I need to stay at this level. I need to perform at this level. So I think at that stage, if you're at that stage, starting off, that's a great place to be because now you're focusing on not what other people say about what you should be doing. You're focusing on exactly who you want to be at the end of the day. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to emulate those big guys and, kind of take a little piece from everybody and see where I can be at the end of the day. Just win the day, win the world.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's the internal focus. I think is kind of like what you're talking about too. Like the winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. I said that backwards. It sounds cooler the other way.
No, it does sound cool.
Losers focus on winners, winners focus on winning.
Yeah. No, you said it's still kind of right. Even still, I mean, it's not wrong. Like
no, it just sounded cooler the second way.
Yeah. But no, I mean, even if you just as simple as writing down like who's my ideal Kev, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who is the best me that I could be today? And it is just as simple as being that. You know what I mean? But we get so bogged down by this idea, that, and we're so spread thin to the point where it's like, dude, I'm getting away from exactly the shit that I know that I need to do. Like I need to make the calls. I need to talk to people. I need to network.
You get overwhelmed.
Yeah, because you're so open to so many ideas and other people's opinions. Your family telling you all the time, like, you don't have to do this shit. Like, yeah, I do. This is what it takes,
Right.
So surrounding yourself with those core people like you guys who consistently keep each other, on task towards a goal.
That's a good point.
Holding them accountable.
Have you guys ever heard of like the be do have thing? Like,
No.
Like the way of focusing to become like better and actually get your goals. So most people focus on what they're gonna do and then what they'll get and then who they'll become when they have that. Like I'm gonna get all this money and then I'm gonna become, this awesome person. When the right way of thinking is you need to focus on who you need to be and what that person does, and if you do that, you'll have what that person has. So it's like today, like thinking about it every single day, like today, I'm going to be who I want to become by doing the things that person would do in hopes to have what that person would have. So it's just like a mindset shift, and the first thing you focus on instead is being that person instead of what they have. So that helps me, and I know I get away from it, but it's something that I think that little mindset shift can help you if you focus on it every single day.
Yeah.
I'll start doing that. It definitely helps.
Yeah. And
it's all in the mindset, dude.
Dude, I realized too, for me, I know it's different for everyone, but like I need to write stuff down. I don't do it often, but when I sit down and actually write stuff down, like I don't journal often, but like when I do, it actually works a lot. So
what do you write down? Like where you want to be in your goals, or
not like a long thing, not like self-analysis, like sit down and reflect on my day, but just like just write it down and like repetition, keep it top of mind.
Yeah.
Like just what I said, like,
Right.
all right, who do you want to become? Okay, be that. What would that person do? And then what would that person have? Like just actually writing it down to focus on it. Because
Right.
if you just think about it, it could just pop out of your mind in 2 seconds. But if you write it down, it's going to stick with you and be more top of mind.
It becomes permanent.
Right.
Write that shit in ink and set it there. I mean, even like that's
Dude, Grant Cardone says, like, write your goals down every morning and every night.
Yeah.
Like, consistently.
And that's
do
not even
stop.
new. That's like Bob
No,
Proctor, dude.
That's
like,
way back.
Yeah,
Proctor
that's like
Gallagher.
Earl Nightingale, like old school guys.
Right.
It's real. That's how the subconscious mind works.
yeah.
For sure.
Bob Proctor. Have you delved into any of his work?
Oh, I love Proctor, man.
Yeah.
He passed away, earlier February maybe? Something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, he's awesome. I believe in the subconscious mind. I believe we all live in a paradigm, that we got to break out of, whether it's, your habits daily. I go do this, then I go do this. I talk to this person, talk to this person, talk to this person. But if you branch out and you meet new people and you surround yourself in different, cities or different friend groups, things like that, you open up to different perspectives and you're not stuck in this limiting beliefs that are around you. And not saying it's a bad thing. You can live comfortable, you could have a good career and live your life happy. But for the people that want to grow and expand, you have to break out of that paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I love about Proctor. I think that was the biggest thing that resonated with me.
Yeah. You can you shape your own reality just by thinking about it.
That's it.
It's so huge. So tying this all back to the self-criticism, I do think that to an extent, self-criticizing is very good, very helpful, very powerful tool to use. Like if you are self-critical, you can always shift it, right? Like tying this to Proctor Gallagher, you could shift that into something positive for yourself. Like I want this perfect video, right? I want a perfect video. So I'm self-critical, sure, but at the end of the day, I know this video is not going to be perfect. And it's a matter of admitting that to yourself. Because once you admit that you're not perfect, a whole world of opportunity opens up. Because instead of bogging yourself down in this one topic, this one idea, this one task, now you're opening yourself up to, I can do this imperfectly, and I could shift my focus again to something else. Because sometimes I would just be so focused on this one thing that's imperfect, and it would be like 99% perfect, and then I would try my hardest to make that 100% perfect. But you can't get there. You'll never get there. Nobody's ever perfect. So it's a matter of being satisfied, blissfully dissatisfied with that 99%, and then moving on, creating that next thing, 0 to 99, and then 0 to 99. I don't believe in 0 to 100 anymore.
Yeah.
Not even what Drake said.
No.
0 to 100. Real
That's his
quick.
Bible.
Yeah.
Real quick.
That's what Alex writes down every morning.
Yeah, I'm going 0 to 100 real quick.
Real fucking quick.
Yeah.
No, but I think you described that perfectly. Like, I don't know. I feel like that was like the perfect way to say how you work in a perfectionist standpoint.
For sure.
So, and
Thank
I
you.
think one tactical thing maybe that, because we all suffer that to a degree, is like just having more on your plate. I feel like allows you to not be a perfectionist because
Yeah.
you're not allowed to. Like you have
Exactly.
other stuff going on. So like if you're moving, like just move at a higher speed, because if you're doing more stuff, you don't have time to be a perfectionist. You know what I mean? You have to, like, if your calendar is more busy, you move on to the next, and that also gives you less time to sit and think, which is the most dangerous thing ever.
Yeah.
Like just sit and think and
Just
reflection's
reflect,
good, but
yeah.
like actually sit there and criticize yourself, which most people, like, most of your thoughts are negative. I don't know the statistic. I'm not going to, throw random stuff out, but it gives you less time to do that. So just putting more stuff on your plate. I found that the happiest times for me in my life is when I'm the busiest, like when stuff's even chaotic. It's like I don't have time to sit there and be perfectionist, or, you just move on and you're just like more
On to the
present.
next.
Yeah, you're more present.
More present, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that one saying, idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah, man.
Dude, if you're sitting there idle, you're going to start embracing all these ideas that are coming to your head, like, that are bad. It's going to bog you down.
Dude, that I actually fully believe in that too. The
Yeah.
idle, what is it? Idle hands.
Idle hands.
I heard
Devil's
the
playground,
the
yeah.
idle mind is the devil's workshop, but it's all the
yeah.
same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like blank space on the calendar, and you'll meet the devil kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what it is.
Because, dude, our human minds, they always want to go towards pleasure. And sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But if we let's say you have like 3 days on the calendar that are completely free, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go party, I'm gonna go eat some donuts, like, I'm just gonna throw my, like, all what I worked for and what I worked towards, that's all down the drain, because now you're cutting your habits, you're cutting your consistency.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of going in a different direction, but it's like people thinking that I need to just not do anything. Like when they're a little bit overwhelmed, like I need to take a complete like step backs are okay, but I need to just, I'll be happier if I just don't do anything.
Dude.
And for me, I get so anxious and it just makes it way worse. Like think about the gym guy who's obsessed with the gym. Like we've all been in like gym phases, I'm sure, where we're like, dude, we get excited to go to the gym. Yeah. And you do a rest day. It's like, yeah, it's probably healthy for you and your body, but you just like, it just doesn't feel right. Like you don't enjoy it.
Doing something
awful.
Yeah.
Rest days are terrible, dude.
I'm glad you brought that up, because you know what I was thinking about today was that there's always those times where there's people telling you, you know, you probably can't do it, you probably shouldn't do it, things like that. And just completely putting doubt in your mind, and then you're hitting those walls where you're like, shit, man, maybe I can't do this. You know, and that's like, you're at that wall, double down on whatever you got to do, man, and you're pushing past it. I mean, it never fails, ever. And I love that. So I'm so happy you brought that up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think about that a lot. Like, actually, and very recently, like, the quickest way to be happier is to just do something. Like, go move and do something. If I just sit around or if I think that that's going to help, it just makes it way worse.
Action cures all.
Yeah,
Oh,
everything.
yeah. If you feel anxious, depressed, that's your fuel to go to the gym.
It's your body.
Fuel
like,
to go
dude,
do something.
Yeah.
Fuel to go read something. Fuel to feed your mind with good information.
For
something.
sure.
Something.
Maybe we'll talk about self-sabotage next.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's
That'd be a good
next
one.
week. Because you mentioned it earlier, but everything we're saying is almost kind of like, oh, fuck it, I deserve this, or I just, you know, this is, you talk about slippery slope. Dude.
Oh yeah,
That's like,
you could easily go down that route.
Yeah.
I deserve this.
And
kind of thing.
self-criticism to a degree is healthy. Like, you need it to a certain degree. But it's the self-abuse, I think you can call it, that is
That's a good
the,
one.
like, dude, you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And, like, to the limit that you abuse yourself, I think that's the exact limit that you'll take abuse or tolerate abuse from someone else.
damn.
Wow.
So, like, if you abuse yourself a lot, I'll take that limit of abuse from you. So if someone exceeds that abuse of me, at that point, I'd probably walk away. So the people who take a lot of abuse, if you think about it, they probably abuse themselves a lot.
Because you're more critical of yourself than anyone could be of you. So it's like, that's a deep boundary. You know what I mean?
You're way more critical of yourself than anyone
So if they're
else.
meeting you even close to that, that's bad. You know, it's
Is
kind
your
of,
mind blown or what?
yeah.
I see you.
That's insane, dude. Because like, yeah, I mean,
You're on a roll
I'm,
today, dude.
I'm thinking of all these people that I know that are in abusive relationships, but like they're cool with it. On the outside looking in, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
They're cool with it because it doesn't compare to the
what they're
amount of
doing to
abuse
themselves.
that they give themselves.
it's their standards
Yeah.
that we keep talking about.
Yeah.
Do you have your set standards of the respect for yourself as well? Because how you talk to yourself is the same thing you just said. Is like, you're going to allow people to talk to you up to that point and meet you there.
And dude, I noticed that so much with high value people. They don't tolerate criticism from anybody because they learned how to criticize themselves the proper way. And they don't
or,
tolerate
or abuse
any-
themselves. Like, they don't abuse themselves about it.
No, yeah. No, that's a good word. That's a better word. Yeah.
Because they criticize themselves like, okay, I could do that better.
Yeah.
And they make the change, but they don't loathe in it and like freaking abuse themselves over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if they did, they would take it from other people.
Right. And they don't.
you build an up or turn down.
Yeah.
You know, yourself and others. It's big.
Wrap it up. This was episode what? 11
11.
of the Real to Real. Stay tuned. We'll be dropping every single week. More gems like this, more fire, and we hope to see you on the next one. Peace.
Back outside, boys, toting the 70 on the strip, I'm ready to die. Cutting the traction, bet in the corner, bet I make shit glide. Try to bring the John, told me he ain't know how we cha-cha slide. I'll never lose sleep over no bitch, way too much pride.